Good afternoon. We're looking at your 2.3a day 1 homework, looking at corresponding parts for figure. So they're telling us in this diagram the first figure is congruent to the second figure. Oh, also just a reminder, the expectation is you're trying this on your own first, and then once you've tried it, you have an answer, or maybe if you get stuck, then you're watching this video. Okay, so assuming that you already have your work, if you don't, pause the video, try it on your own, making an attempt, and then resume when you're ready. Okay, so assuming you've got your work, we're comparing, contrasting. So A, B, D, C, this first figure is congruent to the second figure. Okay, we want to annotate, showing all of our works, showing all of our annotations, all of our work, and we're going to be reminding you guys, remember for corresponding angles, we use arcs. For corresponding side that's congruent, we use tick marks. All right, so finding the value of x is our mission. That is our goal. We want to figure out what that is going to be. What is x? Okay, so we're looking at this, and maybe it's looking like there's a lot going on. That's okay. Let's start by finding where even is x. So looking at the figure, I see down here 4x. I don't see an x anywhere else. So it looks like this is where this is going to be our goal, is finding x. And we're going to highlight angle C because that's the angle that gives us this information about x. Actually, that's going to look weird. Let's just do an arc. So we know it's going to have something to do with angle C because they're giving us information there. So we're comparing this with the other one, right? Anytime we're asked to solve for a variable with geometry, they're not going to give you, they're going to give you the information, but they're not going to give you step-by-step what to do, right? We have to figure out, what is this figure telling us? How can I use that information to write an equation to then solve? So we're going to look at this figure. We're trying to figure out, how can we write this as an equation? What do we need to do? So might be helpful to come back right to this surprise tool, surprise information, some helpful information. Remember, we talked about in class that the order matters. Order matters. Give a space there. Matters. Order matters. The order is very, very important. Very important. So A matches with C from the other triangle, or other, figure. B matches with D. D matches with E. C matches with F. Okay. So for figure 1, we're looking at C. And from this given information, this is the fourth letter, our fourth letter in this congruence equation. All right. So what are we going to do with this? We're going to figure out, what does this match up with, right? Maybe you already know just from looking at the figure. You're like, well, I see it's obtuse, and there's only one other one that's obtuse. If you didn't catch that, it's okay. We can just reference the order here. So it's the last one we're looking at, C and F. So those are going to be congruent, and I'm going to highlight F in the same color, right? Color coding, always color coding. All right, so we're going to set these equal to each other. Angle C is congruent to angle F. Because of this information, we can write our equation. Angle C was 4x plus 5, and that equals angle F, 105. All right, we set them equal. We want to solve for x, so we're going to try to get x by itself. Two-step equations, we got this. Isolate the term with the variable first. So 4x equals 100, divide by 4, x equals 25. And that's it. We've found what x equals. There wasn't anything else to do. For annotations for an arc, right, that would be a good annotation to show that they're congruent, or highlighting is fine too, right? It's saying the same thing. So that's how we do this first one. Again, we're looking at the figure. What are they telling us? How can I use this information? Okay, that's question 1. Question 2, if you're feeling confident already with corresponding angles, you can stop here. You can stop after the first one. But if we're still not getting it, I've got multiple problems for you guys to help us get in the habit, get in the practice, right? For our class, remember, our goal here is a little bit over time. So if you need to take a break, you can always pause and come back to this, digest that information, take a little brain break. So, new problem, question 2. We're on slide 3. Identify and using congruent parts. So in this diagram, triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle MNL. So again, the order is important. We want to complete each statement. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to color code. We're going to use our coloring here. We want to know what matches up with angle Y. What could that be? Because there are 3 letters, we're going to choose a color for each letter. And then just like we did in class, we're going to match them up with the other triangle. Okay, maybe I'll do purple for Z. All right, so we're trying to match them up. Remember, order matters. So if X is green, our first one, the first letter in our triangle over here is M. So M has to match up with X. They need to be congruent. Our next letter was Y, orange. That matches with N. Those two are congruent. And our last one is Z in purple. So L needs to be purple too. Those are going to be congruent. They match up. Remember in class, we learned about arcs. How we can tell if what angles are congruent is with our annotation or highlighting or the number of arcs they have. So this one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Lots of different ways to say the same thing, but I wanted to add those arcs, that annotation. So if we see this later on, we're not like stunned. We can know what's going on. So measure of angle Y equals what? Whenever they're asking for the measure, so just a reminder, M angle and then a letter, this is reading the measure of angle, blah, blah, blah. When they're asking for the measure, we want the specific degree. What is that specific number? So just to clarify for these first 3 questions, they want a specific number. So now that we've annotated the figure, maybe it's looking a little bit easier for us. We're just seeing what matches up with Y, okay? Y matched with N, and they told us that N is 124 degrees. So that's it. Measure of angle Y has to be the same because the triangles are congruent. So every angle, every side length is going to match up. Okay, so 124. Measure of angle M, what color did we use for M? Was green. All right, so M, we didn't get M, but right from annotating the figure, we know that matches up with angle X, and they did give us that information. So we're just going to plug it in, 33 degrees for M. And our last one is finding the measure of angle Z, which is again unknown, and oh my, they don't tell us it up here either. Ooh, interesting. So this one we have to do a little bit of extra work. We know that Y is 124 degrees. We know that X is 33. We can use the triangle sum property, right? We can add them all up to equal 180. So let's see, 33 plus 124 is 157, so 180 minus 157 is going to be 23 degrees. So last one is 23 degrees. All right, XY, side length XY is right here. Remember, our order is important. With the annotations, we're going from 1 arc to 2, or because we color coded, we're going from green to yellow. Or it also looks like it's the smallest side length for a triangle, but that's going to match up with this guy over here. This is the one that's very, very important. Remember what we learned in class is that the side lengths, the order matters. The order matters. This is our big takeaway. The order is very important. So if we're looking at side length XY, just to remind us where that is, that was green to yellow. Our answer needs to be the same, green to yellow. green to yellow. So let's see what that is. Going from green to yellow, that's MN. MN, and we'll draw a line over top because we're talking about a line segment. All right, so they match up. XY, MN. All right, this next one, I'll put the answer in your Desmos, so you'll click next and you'll see the answer here. Okay, third angles theorem. So we didn't get a chance to discuss this in class, which is the kind of point of this video. We're doing a little overtime for your homework. So third angles theorem, if they give us two triangles and they say, hey, they have two angles that are congruent, the third automatically is congruent. Why? Because of the triangle sum theorem, right? We can try it out, test it out if you're not sure, right? So one arc. This is also 75 degrees. Two arcs. This is also 32 degrees. When we're finding the missing angle, right, in the calculator, you could check calculator, 32 plus 75 plus, 32 plus 75 is 107. 180 minus 107 is going to be 73. So that's going to be the missing angle here is 73. That looks horrible. That's a 3. 73. This one, you can plug in the calculator again, but it's going to be the same, 73. So this third angles theorem is saying if we have two triangles where only two angles are given, the third automatically is congruent because they have to add up to equal 180. There's no other combination. If they already have two numbers the same, the third has to be the same. Okay. So go through this one again. Hopefully you tried this on your own. If not, pause the video, try this on your own. We'll go over the answer. Assuming that you have your answer and you're ready. Let's see. So we're given two triangles and they're asking us to find the measure of angle 1. This is our unknown. They're giving us some information. I see some arcs here that this is 70 degrees. So this one matches, right? So we're focusing on this triangle. And they also, both triangles have a right angle. Ooh, right angle. What do we know about right angles? What degree is a right angle? Right angles should be 90 degrees. Okay, triangle sum. We can find the missing angle. We're going to do you could do 180 minus 90 plus 30 to keep it all in one step. Keep it simple. 180 minus 90 plus 30. Oh, that's a 7. Yeah, I was going to say 60 seems too big. My bad. Can't read my own handwriting. That's a 70. 90 plus 70 minus 180 is going to leave us with 20. So our final answer, measure of angle 1 is 20, and then don't forget to include degrees. 20 degrees. Little box. All right, and that's all for your homework. Thanks for hanging in there. I know it was a long video. We did it. We made it through. Any questions? You guys know the drill. Canvas a box.